Welcome to the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas in Arlee, Montana. Just as these beautiful Tibetan prayer flags send forth prayers for all sentient beings, for peace and compassion, the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas will plant the seeds for peace and enlightenment for all beings for limitless time. These are some of the 1,000 Buddhas that are being lovingly handmade in Montana to remind us of our own compassionate Buddha nature. The merit of this garden will be immeasurable, such that it will infuse the wind with blessings that will be carried to lands far and wide. Rinpoche was born in Tibet and recognized as a spiritual leader at a very young age. He was imprisoned by the Chinese for 9 years for being a Buddhist teacher. Although conditions in prison were unbearably difficult, Rinpoche used this experience to practice great compassion. While in prison, Tuku Sangyak Rinpoche met his root teacher, Tuku Orgyen Chemchak, and studied secretly many lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. After being released from prison, Rinpoche met his other root teacher, His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, a renowned Buddhist spiritual leader. He traveled and studied for 14 years with Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche and was with him when he died. This is the turquoise leaf nunnery. Tuku Sangyak Rinpoche established a nunnery for Tibetan nuns in exile from Tibet. He built this nunnery in Parping, Nepal. This is a picture of Tuku Sangyak Rinpoche with some of the Anis and monks in Nepal. Now we come to another sacred place, which is Arlee, Montana. And this is a picture of our Sangha house, the Sangha called Awam. Awam means the combination of male and female energy, the combination of wisdom and compassion. This is Rinpoche with some of his Western students. They come from all over the United States to hear his teachings. He has various sanghas in the United States, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. This particular place in rural Montana was chosen as the location by Rinpoche. The Garden of 1,000 Buddhas is dedicated as an international peace center and is located in the Jaco Valley, 20 miles north of Missoula. It is believed that this garden will be one of the major spiritual pilgrimage sites on this continent. Rinpoche had a vision of the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas, which we are building. As a child in Tibet, Rinpoche often dreamed of a place he'd only heard about, America. When a student of Rinpoche's from St. Ignatius first drove him into the Jaco Valley, he recognized the surrounding mountains from the dreams he had as a child. A student later donated these 60 acres, and when Rinpoche stood in the center of this field, he noticed the natural geography was identical to that described in ancient texts as suitable for a sacred site. Namely, this point in the valley is like the center of a lotus flower surrounded by lotus petals of these mountains. Also, Rinpoche noted the sky was dome-shaped as described in the same texts, and he knew that this was the land of his vision and the sacred place where the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas would be built. The garden covers 10 acres and will include 1,000 Buddha statues arranged along an 8-spoked Dharma wheel. The Dharma wheel is the international symbol of Buddhism. Its 8 spokes symbolize the Eightfold Path. The wheel symbolizes the turning of awakening to enlightenment. In the hub of the wheel is a 24-foot statue of Yum Chenmo, the mother of all Buddhas. Surrounding the Dharma wheel will be 1,000 stupas, which represent the enlightened mind of the Buddha. In the center of the garden is Yum Chenmo, called Prajnaparamita. The original vision of the garden had not included the central statue, but after the increasing violence following 9/11, Rinpoche added the central statue of Yum Chenmo, the mother of all Buddhas, in order to help beings realize more quickly their true compassionate natures. She is the physical embodiment of enlightened wisdom, and compassion. It is by awakening these two aspects that all enlightened beings are born. Underneath his central statue are items to represent the suppression of negativity. In the central area are sacred relics to increase peace and vitality of the earth. And within the statue are numerous texts of sacred Buddhist teachings. There are also the relics of the Buddha and many masters of the past. In 2009, the 40-foot canopy of steel and copper was erected over Yum Chenmo. Around the outside of the Dharma wheel there will be 1,000 stupas, and these stupas represent the enlightened mind of the Buddhas, and inside them will be statues of Tara, who is the female emanation of loving compassion. The creation of physical symbols of peace and wisdom has an energetic effect that counteracts the rampant negativity of our time. Like a pebble in a pond, there is a ripple effect from this garden that impacts the universe. This garden will eventually include 1,000 trees and medicinal plants, especially representing the native environment. We must strive to promote the tradition of nonviolence, which is the heart of the teaching of Buddha. And so every year, Rinpoche has the annual Peace Festival held at the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. He wants people of all traditions, all faiths, all beliefs, of all cultures to gather here in the name of peace. They gather to dance, to sing, to speak, and to share the fervent desire and aspiration for peace in the world. There are many blessings of this Garden of 1,000 Buddhas, and one is as a destination point where people will come from all over the world in order to understand, in order to experience, in order to awaken to their own Buddha nature. There are many spiritual benefits to the garden as a place to promote inner tranquility and peace between people, as a place to connect with the sacred landscape of Montana, as a place to gather with other people and sentient beings who also want to create peace and enlightenment and beauty in the world. There are also many social benefits, and that is one reason that Rinpoche has the Peace Festival every year. People gather to share and teach ways to promote peace in the world. We are working very closely with the Salish, Kootenai, and Pandare tribes, whose land this garden is on. They always remind us of our mission to assure a future for our children by right intentions and actions. The garden project is being supported by the tribes, Arlee, and the surrounding communities. The New York Times featured an article in 2010 about the relationship between the garden, its founder, and the indigenous nations. And of course, there are economic benefits to this garden. Many jobs are being created in the construction of this project, and the garden will continue to provide employment opportunities in the future. Arlee, Montana is being developed as an artist and cultural site for the state of Montana, and our garden will certainly be a major part of that and also help create jobs and opportunities by hosting the many people that will be visiting our area. Over 82 people and 10 local businesses have been employed as a result of this project over the past 10 years. Over 10,000 volunteer hours have been contributed to the project thus far. Here is our barn in Arlee that is filled with Buddha statues, and we cannot wait until we are able to have enough money to have them sitting proudly out in the Buddha garden. In 2009, His Holiness the Dalai Lama accepted the invitation of Tuku Sangyak Rinpoche to visit and consecrate the garden of 1,000 Buddhas. The anticipated budget of the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas is $1.2 million, and we have already successfully raised over $800,000 from very generous supporters from all over the world. Supporters from Nepal, Taiwan, Japan, India, Hong Kong, Europe, and the United States. Recent accomplishments include completed Buddha statue count climbs to over 750. 1,000 stupas hand-carved out of volcanic stone arrive at the garden from Indonesia. Devoted students Mimi and Ronnie Coulson inspire and solicit over 170 stupa sponsorships from Japanese supporters. The nuns at Rinpoche's nunnery, Turquoise Leaf in Nepal, hand-make all 1,000 zoshings to be inserted inside the 1,000 stupas, while Dr. Tashi Sangha in Taiwan make the 1,000 Tara statues to be placed inside the gao of each stupa. Third-generation Nepali artist Lama Sonam Sering spends the summer carving and painting the northeast side of the central statue, Yum Chenmo, with a stupa of the Shakyamuni Buddha representing the strength of Sangha. 2 years of concrete work is completed, including all 8 inner throne walls and the 2 larger outer throne walls. The Dharma wheel finally takes shape. The 7th Annual Festival of Peace kicks off with the first annual Walk a Mile for Peace, including over 100 participants raising almost $3,000 in pledges to support the garden. The Tibetan procession kicks off the festival program with hundreds of visitors circumambulating the garden following Tulku Sangyak Rinpoche. Moving forward, with only $400,000 left to complete the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas, we invite you to become involved in this historic international effort. Rinpoche, our beloved teacher, has always been so grateful to us. It has been such an honor for us to work on this project, to have him as our teacher, and with great respect and love and honor, we make this video and say thank you, Tulku Sangyak Rinpoche. May the universe and sentient beings enjoy a new era of peace and happiness through the interdependent power of bodhicitta, the awakened, compassionate heart, mind. May it arise where it has yet to arise, not weaken where it has arisen, and grow and flourish forever. Gochen Tulku Sangyak Rinpoche.